Okay, this is Smokin' Magic's pork loin, award-winning recipe right here. That is so good and juicy and tender and sweet. Oh yeah. Okay guys, today we have our pork loin here that we're gonna be cooking up. This one right here is about almost 8.5 pounds. A pork loin is a great option to feed a lot of people for not a lot of money, and it's really versatile as far as what you can do with leftovers with it and different meals you can prepare with it. So we're gonna talk briefly about what it looks like and how to trim if you're going to be doing a competition pork loin, but mostly we're going to cook this up to eat at home today. So before I get started with anything, I'm going to show you a few pieces to pay attention to if you're doing this for a competition pork loin trim. So if you see here, you'll notice this meat right here, it is much more red. And then this is the lighter meat over here. This is where the rib attaches to the loin. So for competition, you're gonna wanna cut that part off. For home, it's fine, leave it on there. But I just wanted, this is a really good section, cross section here for you to see the darker red here versus the lighter, leaner pork loin itself. For competition also, so not only would we come down here, we would take this, and you can kind of see it up here too. It's gonna be bumped up right in along here. For competition, you just want that loin. You want to cut off any of that rib meat that might be attached to that loin. So you're going to come down and you would cut all of this off here. You would also then, for competition, work on rounding edges. You don't want any sharp edges. On this back side over here, you can see there's this big fat seam that's running over here. Once again, you're going to cut that off for competition trim all the way down. These little loosey-goosey pieces here on the end, you're going to take those off as well. And then you're going to flip it over, and we'll talk about that part about getting rid of the fat and the silver skin when we get to that side. So for home, since we're cooking this for home today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this rib meat on. It's good meat. It's juicy, it's tender, makes for good eating. But what I am going to do is take off all these loose pieces. Pieces like this and this fatty piece, it will not cook well, okay? So I'm gonna come around. I am going to round edges here. I am, for home, gonna come over and cut this seam out, this fat seam out, because I can tell when I turn it over that it runs all the way through. So it's gonna be more gristly, more tough, and not yield a good product even for home. So I am gonna come and take that little bit of the fat and gristle part out. Trim down a little bit more here. Once again, mostly what I'm taking off is going to be the fat. All right, I'm gonna round that a little bit more. This is where the competition side of things comes in. It's hard to trim and not trim for competition when you're used to trimming for competition. Brad and I talk about that all the time when we're trimming. I'm gonna probably go ahead and round this corner. All right, let's look at this back here. All right, so back here on this back side is a great example to show you the difference between rib meat down here where you've got the bright red and the loin, which is the lighter, leaner cut here. So what I'm doing on this back side is just taking off all of the fat and the silver skin. The fat is this white part here, right? The silver skin is the part that is almost iridescent right in this area here, and it won't render down. Even though we cook hot and fast, a lot of times it still doesn't render. So you want to take that off. So I will pop up my knife, slide it through slightly, slide it through, and then come back and take it off. But yeah, you can see this silver skin, like I can't pull it apart. This is not gonna render, it's not gonna be good. So I'm gonna finish cleaning this up. Now we've taken all of the fat and the silver skin off of the top and the bottom part of our pork loin here. I'm gonna take a good pair of scissors, a kitchen shears, and I'm just gonna kind of tidy up any of these rough edges. So see how all this fringy parts, those will get crispy and burn and won't cook evenly. So we want to make sure we get those off. Kitchen shears are your friends. That is definitely going to make it easier. And just go all the way around. You don't have to get too crazy with it, but cut off any of those loosey-goosey edges that you might have. Yes, that's another Brie word, loosey-goosey. All right, I'm gonna flip her over and do the back side. I think she's looking pretty. All right, guys, we got our pork loin all trimmed up. It's ready to go right now. The next part we need to do is get our pan ready. So you will need a larger pan. I just kind of sprayed some Pam in there just in case. We just use 2 sticks of salted butter. This is a butter cutter I got off of, yeah, butter cutter, right? Got it off of Amazon. Love it because when it slices through the butter, it allows me to lay out the slices flat so the piece of meat sets flat. And oh my gosh, watch this. It is so satisfying. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. Makes me so happy. So I'm gonna place it here in the bottom of the pan. Once again, 2 sticks salted butter. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Once again, ready, here we go. Oh, so satisfying. I love it. Okay, and look how perfectly even these slices are. This guy, because we did not trim him for competition, he's a little bit long for the pan. So I'm gonna take it at about half. I'm gonna cut it right in half here, and I'm gonna place half of it and half of it here. I've got my 2 pieces of pork loin here setting flat on top of the butter. Now it's time to put our rubs on, right? Okay, we're gonna start with our Smokin' Magic pork rub. We're gonna go with a heavy coat on the sides and the top. We're not gonna put any rubs on the bottom. That'll end up washing all off anyway, okay? So I like to turn the bottle to the side. Helps me control a little bit of the coverage a little better. I use my hand as a guide to help get the rub onto the sides to stay. Flipping her all around. Ooh. Like I said, we're gonna do a heavier coat. All right, so we got our heavy coat of our pork rub. Now we're gonna use our Smokin' Magic rib rub. We're gonna come over the top with that, with a little bit of a light coat on that one. All right. Don't skip this step. Don't scrimp on this amount. We have 4 cups of brown sugar here. We're using brown sugar because we're cooking at 275 today, so we're not gonna go over 300. We're not worried about this burning. We are going to pack this 4 cups of brown sugar all around each of these loins. This is the fun part. You're gonna pack it all around here. You're wanting it to really coat, really cover each piece here. This is also going to provide, it'll be in the juice part for the wrap. It's so good. Tucking it around. Now we're gonna do the other one here. Patting that in. Butter and sugar, baby, makes everything better. Flip her around. I'm gonna pat it down here. Never wanna rub it around, just pat it around. I'm gonna set this on top of our smoker back here, just a warmer spot, so that the brown sugar can kind of start to sweat and melt and get a little wet looking on the top. So that, depending on the temperature, could take up to an hour. So we'll get it sweating and come back. All right, guys, so we've got our brown sugar looking wet, kind of sweating in a little bit. It's about an hour. We ended up spritzing it with a little bit of water or apple cider vinegar or anything like that to kind of speed up the process if you're looking to do that. We've got our smoker running at 275 degrees. So we're gonna place our pork loins in the smoker for about 40 to 45 minutes to let them get some smoke all around it. And then we're gonna add the wrap. So we'll come back and talk about that, but let's get this puppy on. right, see you in 40 to 45 minutes. All right, guys, we've had our pork loin on the smoker now for about 40 minutes, and it is time to take her out and get her glazed up. All right, woo, smelling good. All right, so at this point, I'm not concerned about what temperature is. We're just getting that smoke into the meat. So like I said, it's been about 40 minutes. So here's what we're gonna do for our glaze. We're gonna take a bottle of the Blues Hog Chipotle, raspberry Chipotle. I'm gonna take it, as Brad likes to say, no mufflers here, take it all the way off. We're gonna pour it over the top. Be generous with it. This has got a good, it's got that sweet flavor. That raspberry of that fruit plays really well with pork. So we're just getting it all yummy. All right, now we're gonna take full bottle of our Smokin' Magic Southern Twang. So open it up, same thing. Pour that all over. This has got an apple cider vinegar. Goes so well with anything pork due to that apple cider in there. Whew, and it brings a color, look at that. Now at this point, we will put in our temperature probe. It's super easy to overcook pork loins and dry them out, okay? So I'm going to put my temperature probe in here. I'm gonna put it back on the smoker. We're looking for the internal temperature to be about 138. Then we're gonna pull it off and let it rest. During that rest time, it'll carry over to that 142, 143 temp, finishing temp that we're looking for. The temp hit 138, so we pulled her out. Now it's time to wrap and let it rest. We're gonna let it rest for about 30 minutes. The rest part is super important, so please do not skip that. During a rest stage, it allows the meat to relax, release those juices, and then pull those juices back in. So we'll see you back in 30 minutes. Okay, so our pork loin has been resting for about 30 minutes now. So let's get to slicing. We're gonna make smaller slices with this. This is gonna make fantastic sandwiches. You can even shave them smaller if you would like it more of like a deli slice. I mean, let's take a look at this just right quick, shall we? Look at this. Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and try it. Oh my. Oh, it is so sweet and juicy. Uh-huh. All right, I gotta get to slicing. So we have our yummy, juicy pork loin here. It is so tender. We're gonna take some of our glaze that we had on it while it was cooking, and we're gonna baste it over the top here just to add a little bit of extra flavor. Oh, it is so good. Look at that. Not only does it bring the color, look at the pepper flakes in it. Oh, my kids love to just roll this up and eat it plain, or we also put it on like sandwiches. You can do it just sliced up like this. We serve it with like wild rice. You could do anything really with it. We've even cut it up and done like a pork fried rice. So lots of different ways to utilize this. Let's get it all glazed up. Ooh, putting that shine on, baby. A little extra here. Drizzle some on here. Ooh, 'cause why not? So pretty. Now, let's try a bite. Take some out of here. Okay, this is Smokin' Magic's pork loin, award-winning recipe right here. That is so good and juicy and tender and sweet. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah.